In this example, a survey is carried out on 100 members of the adult population of a city suburb. The population of the suburb is 2,000. An alphabetical list of the inhabitants of the suburb is available. Now, in part A, we need to explain one limitation of using a systematic sample in this situation. So on the right hand side, we do have some advantages and disadvantages of using a systematic sample. So for this question, we answer taken every 20th person may introduce bias as the sampling frame is not random, and this will be our answer for part A. For part B, we need to describe a sampling method that would be free of bias for this survey. So in this scenario, a simple random sample using the alphabetical list as the sampling frame, that will be a good approach to take for this scenario, and this will be our answer for this question. In this example, a gym wants to take a sample of its members. Each member has a 5-digit membership number, and the gym selects every member with a membership number ending 000. For part A, is this a systematic sample? Give a reason or your answer. So to explain this part, this is not a systematic sample, and the reasoning will be the first person is not selected at random, and the required elements of the sample are not being chosen at regular intervals. For part B, suggest one way of improving the reliability of this sample. Now, to improve the reliability of the data, the gym could use a larger sample. To reduce bias, take a simple random sample using the list of members at the sampling frame. And on the right hand side, there are some explanation in terms of the type of simple random sampling and its advantages and disadvantages. And this will be our answer for this question. In this example, a head of sixth form wants to get the opinion of year 12 and year 13 students about the facility available in the common room. The table shows the number of students in each year. On the right hand side, we see a table for year 12, a male is 70, while year 13 is 50, while for the females, year 12 is 85 and year 13 is 75. Part A suggests a suitable sampling method that might be used to take a sample of 40 students. So first, it will be recommended to use a stratified sampling, and on the right hand side it highlights the advantages and disadvantages of using stratified sampling. Now, in terms of part B, how many students from each gender in each of the 2 years should the head of form up? Now, we will need to take add all the students from year 12 and 13, male and female, together. So that will give us a total, and all answers should be rounded to the nearest whole number as appropriate. And this will be our answer for, in terms of the way we would break this down, we would have for year 12, the male, we would have 70 divided over the 280, and the sampling will be 40. So we multiply by 40, and that will give us 10. For year 13, male will be 50 divided by the total, which is 280, multiplied by 40 will give us approximately 7. And for year 12, female will give us 85 divided by 280, which is the total, and multiply by 40 as their sample, and that will give us approximately 12. From year 12 female and year 13 female, that will be 75 over 280 multiplied by 40, which will give us approximately 11. In this example, a factory manager wants to get information about the ways their workers travel to work. There are 480 workers in the factory, and each has a clocking number. The numbers go from 1 to 480. Explain how the manager could take a systematic sample of size 30 from these workers. So in this scenario, we take a sample, in this scenario, the number of sample in a straight, it will be the number of samples on the number of population and multiplied by overall sample size. So we have the overall is 408 and the sample size is 30, so that will give us 60. Now we need to set randomly a number between 1 and 60. Start with the worker having this clock number, then select the workers that have every 16th clock number after this. In this example, the director of a sports club wants to take a sample of members. The members each have a unique membership number. There are 121 members who play cricket. 145 members who play hockey and 104 members who play squash. No members play more than one sport. For part A, explain how the director could take a simple random sample of 30 members and state one disadvantage of this sampling method. So for part A, set up a sampling frame. Use any method to select sampling units in which every member of the population has an equal chance of being selected. Example, lottery sampling. A disadvantage of this method is that it may not reflect the proportion of members at the club who play each sport. Now, for part B, state one advantage of this method of sampling. So in this scenario, the sample will have proportional representation of the members who play the different sports. Now for part C, work out the number of members who play each sport that the director should select for the sample. So first we add the total for each of the sports. So we have 124 cricket, 145 for hockey, plus 104 for squash, which will give us around 307 and members together. The answer should be rounded to the nearest whole number as appropriate. So in this scenario, we would take the proportion of for the cricket will be 120 divided by 370 multiplied by 30, which is the sample size, give us approximately 10. For the hockey will be around 145 divided by 370, which is the total, and multiplied by 30, which is the sampling size. That will give us approximately 12. And for squash, we have 105 over 370, which is the total, multiplied by 30, which is the sampling size. That would give us approximately 9. And this will be our answer for this question. In this example, interviewers in a shopping center collect information on the spending habits from a total of 40 shoppers. For part A, explain how they could collect this information using quota sampling and opportunity sampling. So for part A, we start with quota sampling, which divide the population into groups according to given characteristics. The size of each group determines the proportion of the sample that should have that characteristic. The interviewer should assess which group people fall into as part of the interview. Once a quota has been filled, no more people in that group are interviewed. For opportunity sampling, once only sample the people who are available at the time the study is carried out. Example, the first 40 shoppers who are available to be interviewed. For part B, which method is likely to lead to a more representative sample? So in this scenario, quota sampling as opportunity sampling is unlikely to reflect the characteristics of the whole population. Now we need to also describe the similarities and differences between quota and stratified random sampling, which is on the right hand side. An interviewer asks the first 50 people he sees outside a fish and chip shop on a Friday evening about their eating habits. What type of sampling method did he use? That's as part of A. So in this scenario, use the opportunity sampling. For part B, explain why a sampling method may not be representative. So in this scenario, opportunity sampling is unlikely to reflect the characteristics of the whole population. For part C, suggest 2 improvements he could make to his data collection technique. So in this scenario, he could survey people at different times of the day. He could survey people in other parts of the town, not just outside the fish and chip shop. And this will be the answer for this question. In this example, a researcher is collecting data on the radio listening habits of people in a local town. She asks the first 5 people she sees on Monday morning entering a supermarket. The number of hours per week each person listens is given below: 4, 7, 6, 8, and 2. For part A, use the sample data to work out a prediction for the average number of hours listened per week for the town as a whole. So in this scenario, we take the mean, which will be adding all the numbers and dividing them by the, almost essentially finding almost the average, which is, as we have five numbers, we divide them over 5, so that will give us approximately 5 hours to the by taking it approximately to the nearest whole number. For part B, we are asked to describe the sampling method used and comment on the reliability of the data. So the researcher uses opportunity sampling, which is unlikely to reflect the characteristics of the whole population of the town, and has used a very small sample, which is unlikely to be representative. For part C, suggests 2 improvements to the method used. So in this scenario, increase the number of people asked, ask people at different times and or in different locations, and this will be our answer for this question. In this example, in a research study on the masses of wild deer in a particular habitat, scientists catch the first 5 male deer they find and the first 5 female deer they find. What type of sampling method are they using? So for part A, our answer will be quota sampling. For part B, give one advantage of this method. The masses of the sample deer are listed below. So male are 75, 80, 90, 85 and 82 kilograms, and the female 67, 72, 75, 68 and 65 kilograms. So in this scenario, any of the below is an advantage, which is no sampling parameters required. It is quick, it is easy, it is inexpensive, and allows for comparison between male and female boars in this scenario. For part C, use the sample data to compare the masses of male and female wild deer. So in this scenario, we take all the values for the male, the weight, and divide them by the total number, which is 5. That would give us 412 over 5, which would be 82 kilograms for the, by taking it to the closest whole number. That's for the male. For the female, again, we add all the numbers and divide them by the total numbers, which is 5. So that would give us approximately 69 kilograms to the nearest whole number. And then we take away, in this scenario, the male range will be 90 taken away, which is the highest number taken away from the lowest number, which is 75. That will give us approximately 15. And for the female, again, we take the highest number from the lowest number, so it'll be 75 taken from 65, which is approximately 10. So that proves to us that the males are heavier on average but have a greater spread, and this will be our answer for part C. For part D, suggest 2 improvements the scientists could make to the sampling method. Increase the sample size, catch boar at random times during the day. So this will be our answer for this question. In this example, the heights in meters of 20 ostriches are listed below. So we have all the numbers shown. And for part A, take an opportunity sample of size of 5 from the data. So we start by an example of an opportunity sample would be by the first 5 heights, given a sample of 1.8, 1.9, 2.3, 1.7 and 2.1. Now for part B, starting from the second data value, take a systematic sample of the size 5 from the data. So the second height is 1.9, and to take a sample of 5, now choose every 4th height, given a sample of 1.9, 2.0, 2.6 and 2.3 and 2.0, and taken at each 4th height. For part C, calculate the mean height for each sample. So in this scenario, the mean height for the opportunity sample, that will be taken the first 5 and divide them by 5. That will be 0.8 over 5. That will give us 2 meters for on decimal point. And also for the second systematic sample, that will be taking the 5 values and divide them by 5. That will be 10.8 over 5. That would give us 2.2 meters. Now for part C, state with reasons which sampling method is likely to be more reliable. Now in this scenario, the systematic sample is likely to be more reliable because it is random and likely to be more representative. The opportunity sample might just consider all the small values as it does in this scenario, and this will be our answer for this question.